Prepare yourself for this one because I'm placing the mill and creating new landforms. Well, good afternoon everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now you can see I've got the mill in front of me pretty much as it was before, as you saw in the last video, except I've gone ahead now and added roof there. There's loads of drain pipes. I'll show you all the sides. We've got bars on the windows just there. And we've got these strange things that stick out. There's one there. And I don't know whether you can make it out. There's another one just there. So I'm guessing that they were something to do with the pulley system, getting things in and out of the building perhaps. I mean, there's a door there. Going around to that side, you can see that I've glazed that part of it. And there's another drain pipe there. I did say I'm not going to glaze these windows. To be honest, you probably wouldn't even notice. And I've done some others around that side. So when you look at it like that, you can't really tell that there's glazing in there. And the size of it is so small, it's not worth it, to be honest. And so there's more drain pipes on that one. There's a set of steps to go here, but there's no point in doing those until it's mounted into the board. More drain pipes there. I had to modify this section slightly because on the original building there are 6 windows across, and the drain pipes come every 2 with a 2 window gap in the middle. So I've had to do some compromise there. I'm not sure what these pieces are, but I've just had to put the drain pipe in just to make it kind of work. For a model, it's okay. And again, you've got some more pieces there. In reality, this door is there. Again, modeller's license. So I'm presuming that might have been done to protect the windows as things were being raised and lowered in. That's my guess. So in which case that should be there. But again, it's only a model. I'm not worried about it. And you've got more drain pipes coming down there. And that one sort of comes down and then sort of darts across. Another pipe's going across there. So, and not forgetting these steps here. So there's a lot been sort of added to the building, if you like. So the next stage now is to get the base unit and start thinking about how to mount it into that. Right, so this is it then. This is make or break now. The building's just over there. Now, so what I need to do first of all is to transfer these marks onto this board. So what I'm going to do is gently use the scalpel and just make little incisions at that point and then mark it off with a pencil where it comes and then draw on those parts after that. Okay, speak to you in a minute. Right, so there we are. So to find out the marks, it's a case of using the original template and a combination of putting the building onto the board itself, and I end up with something like that. And so it's a case of now going round, cutting out this with the scalpel and digging out all the gubbins inside. Right, there we go. Now it has taken a little bit of fettling, sort of put the building in, take it out, put it in, take it out and so on. But it's a case of now teasing it in, because I haven't seen it in there completely as such. But a case of then just sort of press it in, making sure the wires are out of the way. And so on. All right, needs a little bit more cutting just there. And it's in. Now, looking at the levels there, I know it's not on the layout and you've got things behind, but that does look an awful lot better. Just pan you round. Now I know there's certain bits, on my finger, obviously certain bits like that need to be brought up a bit, and levels need to be adjusted, that sort of thing. I've got a feeling I might need to drop the level a little bit there. But yeah, that's a lot better than I anticipated, to be honest. So it's gonna be a case now of going around, start at one place and then sort out the levels as I go around and try and create landforms. So obviously this bit needs to be built up just here, and the chimney needs to go in. I might just put the chimney in just sort of on the edge there, that type of thing. But yeah, so I'm quite pleased with that. Well, I'll catch you shortly. Welcome back to a scene of devastation and destruction. Well, as I said before, it needed to happen. 2 reasons. First of all, the electrics needed to come out of this base unit. And as you can see, the wires do come out there at the bottom now. So a hole will be drilled into the layout baseboards, and those will be going through. And obviously with plugs fitted to the end of those, ready to, with plugs on, so I can then disconnect them, and that will then go to the 2 switches as I've described before. But this section, it needed cutting back. Now, I have said in previous videos that I'm only planning a little way ahead because it's such a complicated build. Wherever you look, there's extra bits of detail and steps and railings and all sorts, walls. So just to make it a bit easier on myself, I'm only planning a short amount, doing that, and then I might have to modify it slightly to accommodate the next bit. And I'm not afraid, as you can see, of removing this section. Even it didn't take that long to do, but I think it will be better in the long run once it's all been fitted together. So I'm going to show you now what I've proposed to put in its place. So we've got that bit now, which will slot into there, kind of like that. And you might be thinking, well, that's, yeah, okay. And you've got that bit which will be glued on the top. I wanted to show you the lattice underneath, which is literally just card. It's just a card lattice, and it's not dry, as you can clearly see now. So I'll be careful, I think. And I'm going to slot that bit underneath there, and that will then sit on the top, kind of like that. So the buildings will go here, sort of, well, they'll go like that, because that's, I think this one will probably angled in a bit more, because that will touch the slope, as will that one. So I'll probably reposition that one, but you get an idea of that, can't you? And there's a lump on the back of that one as well that needs to be done. I also need to put a bit going around the back there to where the restaurant is going to be. But you might think, well, that's a bit tall. Well, that's how it is. If you go and have a look at that website I showed you, and even if you've got Google Maps does a 3D render, which is absolutely amazing. I can't show you that for obvious reasons, but so a lot of this is going to be cut off, I'm afraid, but there are steps going up here, and it will just be whatever's left. I'm going to put the chimney sort of on the front of that, so it will be glued to this bit. But there's steps coming up, and there is a big dip going down there with some railings, and there's a little bridge. If I push that down, there's a little bridge going to that door just there. It's like an angled bit. So I can, once all this is in and fitted, I can start doing all those little bits. But hopefully you get an idea of where that's going now. And obviously all this needs to be planted, if you like. This section here will be trees, and it will be banked up. So all this will be, another section will be added to this, and then that will be banked in, so the trees can come and sort of build up in this area here. It does have an impact on the Dinting Viaduct, I'm afraid, but at the end of the day, the whole layout is a compromise, and that's the way we have to run sometimes. But anyway, I will keep going, and hopefully I'll have a bit more to show you shortly. Well, this is fast turning into one of those hold your breath moments. You really don't know what's going to happen next here. Well, first of all, there's been two things. The first one's quite obvious, but the second one, I'll tell you first, is that I had to alter this slightly because the original road coming in was heading to this point here, which when I realised, obviously that's not any good, so I've had to alter it so as if it's going to go straight down there. And as I said before, there will be buildings along there. Now, the other part of it as well is that it suddenly became quite obvious looking at Apple Maps, not Google Maps, Apple Maps, the 3D render, that this part here comes up quite tall and it needed to come in quite tall. So I thought, well, this was sagging all down here. This needs to be fixed properly. So what I've decided to do is replace the fascias all the way around the outside and then build this back up along there. Now, I'm only going to get to papier-mâché stage because there probably will be some more modifications as well. There are some steps going in. There's like a decking going in, little things. But I do want to leave the opportunity to modify it before I get to this stage, as I did before. I don't want to waste all the materials if I can help it. So I'm going to get that built up now. It's literally just going to be bits of 2mm grey board or thick card board. I'm going to hot glue it in with the hot glue gun, and I'll come back and show you shortly. Wow, what a transformation. So you can see now I've got the hill as a bit more like I wanted it, or needed it to be, I should say. Now, I've used A4 paper over the top of that. I put cardboard ribs, which glued to the back there, and sort of big sort of L shapes, if you like, with a triangle section on the top. And then the A4 paper is sort of glued to one end, then the other end, and then once that, leave that a few seconds and then gently go over the top with more glue and just keep adding. This part here is the start of a deck, which is a part of the building which is going to go here, out the back. So it's getting there, bit by bit. And obviously it just all needs another layer of papier-mâché onto this and then painting up. Okay, catch you shortly. So there we go. This is probably as much as I'm going to do for this video, but I'll talk you through what I have done. So I've planted the building into the baseboard, into this unit here, and obviously I had to create the template and then draw around the building, etc, etc, and then pare away at each part to place it inside. Then I had to feed through the wires, cutting a hole in just here, connecting up all the wires and then bring them out at the bottom, just like that. So I've got two sets of wires coming out the bottom, which will then go to a plug, and then on the other side, the plugs will then take it to two switches. The switches will then go to the main 12-volt feed. So that's that. And then I went ahead and made this unit here, which is basically card. So obviously I had to work out the basic structure using the piece that I cut out from in there. Actually, I got the main shape from that, and then created the base, and then put a wall around the whole of that to build it up, and then a lattice work going across. The top was then made by creating two slits for the road, and obviously had to build up inside with the two triangles on the top, which is one there. And the building that's going here will butt up to that, so don't worry about that being not painted. And obviously that side is walled, but not finished as such. Quite crude at the moment. And you saw I had to remove all of that to build up all of this section. So it's had a new side piece go in, corner, and all of that is one piece. So that's 3 pieces around the outside, by the way. And then this was then made up by, again, a structure going in there, which is like L-shaped, but with a slopey top, and then covered in A4 paper to get rid of the ribs, if you like. And then I had a layer of couple of layers of newspaper over the top of that. Allowed that to dry. In fact, I put it on a portable radiator and it was dry within the hour. So that was that. And obviously then it was painted. Now, one thing I have done, you might notice the building is seated up quite nicely. There seems to be some little lumpy bits appeared, but I'll get rid of those. There was some nasty gaps around the outside. So what I decided to do was use some hot glue with the glue gun and run it around, just a tiny little bead. And then using a piece of card with the tiniest corner cut off, and then just run along the edges, like so. A little bit like what you do when you seal a bath, if you've ever done that. You put the silicone sealer around the edge of the bath, and then you either, some people use their finger, or a lot of people, particularly professionals, you would use a silicone tool, which has got a shape. So it's like a rectangle, but with a corner cut off, or a rounded corner, or whatever it might be. Similar type of thing to that. And obviously I still need to do varying heights around here because there's some horrendous gaps there. So that will be done in a very similar way. Going around the corner now. Turning it round. So I still need to do that just there. But I've 3D printed some steps just there, put it in a wall. Now all that had to be cut out because there's a flat section just there. Again, I can only think it's for boats, but I'm not sure. You've got a weir just there. I really don't know. You know, it could be for anything. Unless it was something to do with the mill, as was, because there's a tunnel just there. At that point there, and that's a 3D printed part. So I had to print that off. Yes, it's just over 1 centimetre long at 8mm high. So silly small really. But, you know, so it's coming along bit by bit by bit by bit. So I'm just really pleased to see that fitted into the base unit. And as far as I can tell, the height is going to be absolutely beautiful. So what I'll do now is take it upstairs and show it to you on the layout so you can get an idea of how it's going to fit in. Well, there we go. So I'm thinking now that's looking right. The building seems to be sitting about the right height. And you can get an idea of how this is all going to fit together. Obviously, I'm going to have to put trees down here and stuff and have it overhang. But, you know, you find all these things out as you do it, don't you? I might even be tempted to cut that down a tiny little bit. But we'll see. So I'm really rather happy with the way that's coming on. Right, I think I'll leave the video there. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll catch you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly. Take care now. Bye for now.